All right, 6:30, right on the nose, more or less. Let's. I'm just going to get myself situated here. Looks a little askew. Let me come over a little bit and get situated a little. See how everybody's doing today on this Monday, May 6th, 2024. Oh boy, the year is moving by very quickly. How is everybody doing today? Boy, the weather has been flip-floppy, tossy-turvy. This weekend was not really great. It was a little rainy, a little chilly. Wasn't ideal for anything really so much outdoors. I did get my bike ride in yesterday. I did get a run in on Saturday, but it wasn't great. Just the weather wasn't conducive. It's a little chilly. I don't know how to. I was running. I'm wearing a wool hat. I look silly. I'm like kind of bundled up. And you have some people in short. Everybody's all dressed up. Nobody knows how to dress. But you know, we made it through the weekend. I think it's going to start getting a little better. Tomorrow's supposed to be a better day. So let's hope that it's a little sunnier. And we got to take care of some business before we start. Some administrative business, if you will. First, today is May 6th. It's my brother's birthday. So let's start off with a happy birthday to my brother. I don't even know if he's watching the show. But if he is, happy birthday. If he's not, I'll try to get in touch with him. And then this May starts off, it kind of starts off the month for me, kind of like February does. February is a very busy month for me. A lot of birthdays. May is the same. I have, this starts off the birthday. Then next week, of course, Sunday is Mother's Day. Did you, case for those of you who have forgotten, did you get your mothers, all those mothers out there, did you get them gifts? I think Mother's Day, people get plants, things like that. I have some, I know my mom's watching, so I can't divulge what I've gotten, but I think I did pretty good this year, hopefully. Still waiting on a couple of things, deliveries. But we'll try to remember and do it the best you can. But yeah, plants are always nice. This time of year, the hanging plants are always a nice thing, and something like that to give a shout out to the moms out there. But you don't worry, don't panic. It's only May 6th on Monday. You still have many days until you have to be nice to your mother. So, I give you full carte blanche for the rest of the week, and then you got to lock it down, and you got to really be nice for the weekend, right? It's the old weekend niceness. No, we love the moms. And yesterday this weekend was shout out to the Long Island Marathoners. Everybody running, all the runners, walkers, joggers, everybody that participated in the 2024 Long Island Marathon. Yesterday they ran the half and the full. Again, not a great day to run, a little chilly. I remember when I did it many moons ago, same type of weather. It was rainy, wasn't really a nice sunny day. Now let me start off by saying I have run this course of the Long Island Marathon. There is nothing more boring, short of watching paint dry, than this course. It is, you kind of start off in Eisenhower. Now I don't know if they've changed it. I don't think so. They might have, because I didn't see signs for the Wantaw Parkway being closed, which I usually see. So they might have changed it. But you start around Eisenhower Park, come out of that complex, run around some side streets, and then you hit the Parkway. And then the half marathoners get off and come back, and the full marathoners go all the way down, come all the way back. But nobody's aligned the Parkway. It's just boring. You're just running, and there's no people, no crowd, nothing to really give you that little boost you need. Not like the New York City Marathon. Man, that is fantastic. Everybody should. I know it's hard to get in, and it's a marathon, but that's really something to do. You know what? Who needs the marathon? If you want to get in touch with me on my Instagram, I'll give you the course directions for the New York City Marathon. Just walk it or run it in the middle of the day in traffic. Do it, start at the Verrazano Bridge, run along the traffic on the bridge, while the cars are going, and just do the whole course. You don't need to make it on a marathon day. And I have to preface this by saying I am joking. So please, for those of you out here, do not run the course in the middle of the traffic. That brings me to the other point. When I see all these, Lance Armstrong-like bicyclists running around in the middle of traffic, riding their bikes, I say this every spring. Nobody listens to me. Stop riding your bicycle in the middle of the highway. It is not a bike path. Sunrise Highway is not a bike path. The LIE is not somewhere for you to take a bike stroll. It's just not. You're going to be an ornament on somebody's car, and I don't want it to be mine. I just renewed my insurance. I don't need that aggravation right now. And I'm sure you don't either. Also, a little more business to take care of. The Island Harvest, they do a wonderful job. May 11th, Saturday, May 11th. You have no excuse. You don't have to go anywhere. You just put it right at your mailbox. This is the one day the postal service will go postal. They have to pick up and carry everybody's 10-pound bags of canned goods. But it's for a good cause. Items to leave. I'll give you some suggestions. They give you some suggestions. So you can see here, this is Saturday, May 11th. Island Harvest is sponsoring. This is a wonderful thing. They were supposed to give us, I thought they give you a bag. They might do that this week. So be on the lookout for a bag that actually says Stamp Out Hunger. It should be a bag that looks like this. So they should give you that bag. If not, put it in a bag of your own. Put it by the mailbox. Anything canned. They give you some suggestions. Canned beans are always nice. Dried beans, peanut butter, or other nut butters, as we are in the 2024 world where it's not just about peanut butter anymore. It's your almond butters and all your other butters. Canned fruit is fantastic. Vegetables, low sodium soups. We're going to talk about in our health segment something that just happened in the educational world, in the school districts, which I am pleased about in regards to sodium and sugar that the USDA has just laid down. So we'll get to that. Canned tuna, chicken, anything canned. You don't need me to do this. Is really, they even say they'll take paper towels, toilet paper, dish detergent, everything. So they say no glass containers, please, and don't leave cash. I know you want to, this is not a mafia payoff. You don't have to leave a bundle of cash. I mean, unless you want to pay off your postal worker. I'm sure they would appreciate it. But that's a good thing. Stamp Out Hunger, Island Harvest, do it. Of course, I'm such a procrastinator, as we've sung on last week's show. I have yet to take poor Kermit and plant him. I'll probably do. You know what? The weather hasn't been great. I haven't been able to go out there and plant and get that weather going really good. These were the winners from the Long Island Marathon. Let's give you a little peek at the winners. There they are. Look how happy they look. Well, the one guy looks exhausted. She looks happy. He looks like he's ready to... He doesn't look great. That's not a great picture of him. Who are these people? Ryan Clifford. Wow. This is his second marathon win. It's just nice to run a local race, he says. Ryan Clifford finished. He's from Westbury. He finished in a nice 2 hours and 31 minutes and 4 seconds. 2 hours, 31 minutes, which is a very good time. To put it in perspective, 2 hours and 31 minutes. The New York City Marathon winners usually finish in about 2 hours flat. So, 2:01, give or take a minute or two. So, you would just take off a half hour on this guy's time, and that's where you get the... but again, let's be fair, there's no Kenyans running in the Long Island Half Marathon. We don't have a strong Kenyan running population on Long Island. They save it for the big races, those guys. They're professionals. They're not messing around with this nonsense. And for the women, Kristen Delaney Gee, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, Gee, from Long Beach. I used to live there. She did it in a very speedy 3 hours and 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Good for her. And I'm trying to see if there was any notables. They give the top 10. People from out of state, very good. Connecticut. This gets a lot of people. It's a pretty popular race, but I really do think they need to think about changing the course. The course is a very boring. I think if they had a better course, you'd get better times. I'm a runner. I need music in my head or something in my head. I'm not really sure. But, wow, these guys, they did a great job. Fantastic. Kristen said, a dream come true. I don't know what the purse is for this, but good for them. And it's, it's a very fun race. Bruce Blakeman puts his name on every inflatable there. Town executive, Bruce Blakeman. This is such a politicianal, it's not even a word, but a very politically, that's always infused in there. They always want to take credit for these Long Island events or these local events. All the dignitaries are there. I remember when I did, they always want everybody to know, it's just a fun day, thanks to me. Are you all having a great time? I did this. Vote for me. I've given you these $2 inflatables that say my name on it, and I'm responsible for letting you all run. If it wasn't for me, you would have to run just on the LIA. But because of me, Bruce Blakeman, or whichever And again, this is not any political affiliation or anything like that. I'm very not a political guy, but it's really just what any politicians, what they do. They need to take credit. They need to start off. But that's okay. What else was it? It was Cinco de Mayo yesterday. So we had May 4th. This is all about naming days now, right? May the 4th be with you. So they needed to do a Star Wars spin-off on the day. So now every May 4th at Yankee Stadium, they had Garrett Cole bobblehead day. So he was dressed as a Star Wars figure. And it was May the 4th be with you. So, and they had stormtroopers on the field at Yankee Stadium. I'm not a Star Wars person. I like the first one with Harrison Ford, right? And but I'm sorry. And I had those figures, R2D2, C3PO. But I never liked any of the others. I never watched them. I wasn't. Now they have these, shows that. These spin-offs, these series on HBO, everybody's so into them. I just have no interest in them. So May 4th was May the 4th be with you. Then the next day, it follows right up with Cinco de Mayo, which I like to educate on the Steve Square Show. Look at this. I have not shaven. I need to really get a razor to this. This is not coming in well. This is days of not having time to shave. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. A little gruff for the show today. But I will, hopefully, for next week's show. Okay. It says here, this fiesta, this talks about Cinco de Mayo and what it is and what it isn't. So basically what it is it's a victory of the Mexican troops over the French forces at the Battle of Puebla. And it was a very emotional boost for the Mexican soldiers led by General Ignacio Zaragoza, one of the most famous Mexican generals of Mexico. And they do this whole big thing. What it isn't, it is not Independence Day for Mexico, nor is it a Independence Day for Long Island. This, contrary to popular Long Islanders, this is not a day for you people, even though you have taken it and run with it. I know you all love your it's a beautiful excuse to go get some tequila, right, and chips and salsa. Who doesn't need an excuse for that? We love that. Good for you. But come on. You don't need an excuse for that. If you need to drink on a Sunday, just do it. You don't have to call it Cinco de Mayo. Anyway, so that is Cinco de Mayo. So we got a lot of things going on. So very excited. Again, I have to make a quick getaway tonight. Remember, I left you last Monday. The Knicks still had a ways to go, and we had a little trip up in Game 5. I'm glad you didn't see me. That was so good that you didn't see me after Game 5, or the following Wednesday. It was not a good day. But they rebounded, to use a basketball term, and they closed it out in Philly for Game 6. Another tight game. Josh Hart comes through. Jalen Brunson, unbelievable. All the Knicks, fantastic. Great job. And so now, tonight starts round 2. 7:30. They don't even give me a minute to adjust from this. From this show, I got to go right to the Knicks. I don't even have a minute to cool down or anything. So I'll have to leave you quickly, get right to the Knicks game. I'm not going to the game, unfortunately, but I'll be watching it. So that's at Madison Square Garden tonight. So that should be hopefully a good game. We'll get the Knicks off to a good start. So that they're playing the Indiana Pacers. So Knicks and the Pacers. You remember those old Knicks-Pacers rivalries back in the day with Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing, and there's a lot of all that. John Stark. So it's got a little rivalry there. I'm sure they'll touch on that. They always want to build drama and story, but that was many years ago. So let's hope the Knicks get rolling tonight. What there was other sports news. Yanks had a good weekend. They swept the Detroit Tigers in a rain-filled game yesterday. So let me get right to my also annoyance. I like to just get right to it. And let me see if I could find it for you. Did I have it somewhere? Hold on. Wait a minute. Let's see if I can find it for you. If not, I don't see it, and I don't. Where it is? Let's see if you keep talking amongst yourselves, and I'll find it. Really, what it had to do with was they had the horse racing this weekend, right? So they had the horse racing this weekend, and of course, you all know my thoughts on that. They're not very good. I was not very happy. I'm not an advocate of this nonsense of the Kentucky Derby. I'll tell you, it's not something that I like to endorse or recommend. I think it's ridiculous what they do to these horses. And if you watch the show, there's a great documentary on HBO, on the New York Times did it, really about the really dark side of what they do to these poor animals, the horses. And that's what I wanted to share with you. Well, I'm trying to see who the winner. I know the winner was Mystic Down. Was a let's see here. Hold on one second. I'll find it for you. You see, I usually have people that do this for me and help me prepare for the show, but of course, I'm doing this solo today. There's no Steve, there's no anybody. And no, this is not it, is it? Anyway, let's see, maybe it's over. No? Anyway. Oh, here it is. I think this is it. This should be. Is it? Oh no. This is game. This is Scrabble. This is about cartoons. Alright. Anyway, my point is, if there is a point, is that they had the Kentucky Derby, and it's just what they do to these horses with the doping. And they inject these horses. Say if you have, if the horse has an injury, they will give it snake venoms, actual snake venoms. They'll give them certain kind of injectable pain disguisers, so the horse doesn't feel it, but it's the injury is still there. So the horse is at risk for falling, breaking its hoof, its leg. And then, of course, we know what happens. They're not out there to set the brake. They're just out there to blow its head off. So, they usually tape or staple, whatever they do, their tongues down when they're going. They put blinders. The way they put them in the gate, it's just terrible. And I love, they do the whole pageantry and the people, and they have to make as if the horses are really excited. They're like, oh, this is a great time. The horses are feeling the excitement now. Do they really think that? Do they really? I love how they say that. And then, in anything, it's like when they do the dog show. Now, they're not, the dog show is different. I don't want to compare it, but when they say how a dog is feeling, they're very excited. They don't know. They have no idea what they're talking about. So, these horses, I'm sure, would rather be sitting in a meadow, under a tree, eating an apple, a Fuji apple, if you will. They don't want to be having somebody. Would you want somebody on your back smacking you while you ran in a circle until your heart exploded? No, you probably wouldn't want to do that. There's a great bit. I think it's on. It's either Family Guy. I believe it's Family Guy. It's not Simpsons. I believe it's Family Guy, where the scene is flipped, and the horse kind of punches the jockey, and he jumps on his back, and he's riding, and he's smacking him. It's very funny, and because it's terrible. Plus, it just the hat's annoying. They all dress up in this nonsense, and they're like, we have our mint juleps and our big hats, and these wealthy losers that have nothing to do but throw their money around. Half of them have been indicted and are involved. These trainers that own these horses are involved in the blood doping and the steroid use. Many of them have been banned. A lot of the horses who have won have been, banned and things like that. And then the horse has to live in obscurity and shame the rest of its life. It's just not fun. It's made fun of by the other horses. You don't want to live like that. Don't do this. Stop this nonsense. And it goes on, everywhere, and they try, and they all pat the horse and pet it in front of the cameras like they care. Then the horse loses, and then again, they probably shoot it. And the jockey. I hear they shoot the jockeys now too. And the annoying part is they do this. They have the coverage, right? And they cover this nonsense from like 12 o'clock till like 7 o'clock. It's a 7-hour coverage of a 1-minute race. So they go back and forth. And this is in Kentucky. The last time I checked, there was not a lot of Brits. It wasn't a high Brit population in Kentucky. So why are they using UK announcers to do this? I'll tell you why. It gives class. You want a little class, you get the Brits. You don't want people from our country, from America. We talk silly. Even a Southern. I would think a nice Southern would be nice, right? Get a nice Southern belle, a nice Southern accent. That would be okay, but no. It's horse racing, so they have to get something a little more hoity-toity. That also bothers me. There is no Brits living in Kentucky, I can assure you. Not a one. Not a one. By the way, that was a can of Celsius, our proud non-sponsor of the Steve Squared Show on this May 6th. So, that was my horse racing rant. Just stop it. And with your stupid song, My Old Kentucky Home. Just the whole thing is annoying. The whole thing is annoying. Hey, they're, what's his face? So they have this, again, I don't know why they're so locked into, Billy Joel is turning 75. With the whole Billy Joel thing, that he was just that whatever. So, here he is. Look at this. This is Billy Joel. 75. So what they're doing is, in honor of this, they're ranking his songs. They want you to vote on his 75 best songs. So they've ranked, the Newsday has ranked their suggestions for their. So look at this guy. This is him. This is Billy Joel. Just last year. He looks so much better, doesn't he? Look how much. Let me show you. Look what I'll tell you. When you have a tough year or two, you can really age quickly. This is 2023, 2024. It's unbelievable how quickly somebody can age. Fantastic. Anyway, they have scenes from an Italian restaurant at number 1, Piano Man number 2, of course, My Life 3, Moving Out, Anthony Song number 4, and Uptown Girl number 5. Couple of others in the top 10, Just the Way You Are, New York State of Mind, Allentown, Still Rock and Roll with Me. Then he's, many other songs and whatever. But, yeah, turning 75. What do you think about that? So, if you go to Newsday and you really have nothing to do, you can rank and put your top 75 songs. I didn't even know we had that many songs. But that's, as far as what I remember, that Scenes from Italian Restaurant, that's like a 35-minute song, so it's a little long for me. I need things quick. Quick songs, quick everything, quick books, quick everything. So Billy Joel, 75. That'll be coming up. So rank your movie, rank your song, see what you like. Before I get to the next bit, just want to see. I watched a really good documentary yesterday on the History Channel. If anybody's interested in watching the History Channel, it was Mega Brands That Built America, and they talked about the one guy, this one gentleman that started Blockbuster. And it was really good. If you look it up, it's on the History Channel. Mega Brands That Built America. Blockbuster, Netflix. And it shows the one gentleman that had started Blockbuster, and then they... so this guy that started Blockbuster, he was like a software engineer working for an oil company. It was late 70s, early 80s, and he was setting up databases. Computers were just starting, and he was setting up databases for oil companies, setting up databases. Him and his girlfriend were, videos were just starting to come out, and to buy a video the movie industry didn't want people to start doing this, so they made videos to purchase like $90, $100. Nobody was buying them. So what they did, some small stores, not video stores, they were just small stores that maybe sold video rentals. And they had them, but they had them in the back. You'd ask for a movie, let me see Ghostbusters or something, and they would be like, I'll see if we have it. They'd disappear for an hour, came back, I can't find it, whatever. People wouldn't return them. It was it was really not organized at all, and it was only in small, almost like, kind of bodega type stores that maybe sold lotto tickets, 7-Eleven types. Nobody really, wasn't anything of nothing. So this guy, he's like, comes up with this idea, and he says, this is ridiculous. There needs to be some kind of organization for this, some kind of database. And then he starts using his money he had made, and he purchases tons of inventory, videos, and what he does is he gets a space, and he opens up a video store, and he makes it very movie theater-like, and, he comes up with the name Blockbuster, and so he sets on this path, and it becomes so huge, and it gets a little big for him, so he sells it to this guy, conglomeration guy, because first they were partners, but then he just wanted to leave, so he sold it off for $20 million, which is a good deal, back then especially, and, Blockbuster becomes huge. Then it shows how Netflix infused with these other two guys, and it was pretty interesting, the story. So, anyway, that was, if you watch that, it's really pretty fascinating. Do you remember going in, they came up with the phrase, make it a Blockbuster night, right? You'd go in. There is exactly one Blockbuster that still stands today. I believe it's in California. It's like a mom and pop that own it type of thing. It's more there for historical purposes. They just kept it because they started being franchised. So that is pretty, you remember going into those, and you'd hope that they had the new releases, and here's the thing of it, and this is how Netflix got over on Blockbuster. Blockbuster made their bones, and I'm sure we've all been there, on late fees. They actually had the nerve to charge up to, like, enormous $40 late fees. Like, that's how they made their revenue. They knew people wouldn't bring it back in time, right? Be Kind, Rewind, which is actually a movie, Jack Black. But they would charge these enormous... So one of the Netflix founders goes in, and he is like, what? So he goes to a friend of his, and he's like, this is ridiculous. Going into these video stores, getting it, returning it. DVDs were just starting to now come into play. And these two guys started thinking, let's come up with a better idea where everybody's starting to have computers now, right? Let's see if we can do it where people do a mail order. We'll send them the prepaid envelope so they can mail it back to us. They'll get it in 2 to 3 days. They don't even have to leave the comfort of their home. They can order it right on the computer. And they came up with the idea of, they wanted part of the name to be movies and part of the name to be techie. And they came up with Netflix. And they started this. There was no late fees, things like that. They didn't do what Blockbuster did, the model. So they changed a little bit. And obviously, put Blockbuster out of business, and we know today we are still watching Netflix, and it's become a huge conglomerate. But it's a great story. You should really watch it. Which should have been the subject of the Seinfeld movie, not Unfrosted, which leads me to my next segment at 7:02 p.m. Did any of you see this horrendous, horrible movie by Jerry Seinfeld, who co-wrote it, directed it, starred in it, and should have thrown it in the garbage? Man, oh man, what a piece of crap. I should be a movie critic, because that's really all I have to say. Garbage and piece of crap. I wouldn't write this beautiful lexicon. I wouldn't wax on poetically about the character analysis. Piece of crap. He's trying to do this farcical take, and it says here, Seinfeld's movie about something, Pop-Tarts. So he's really, it wasn't really supposed to be anything biographical. It tries to go to the story in a very over-the-top way of the cereal wars between Kellogg's and Post. And really, at the time, basically who could come up with the most sugary cereal and piece of crap cereal. And so Post is coming out with the toaster strudel type of Pop-Tart, and Kellogg's was their initial idea. So Amy Schumer plays Marjorie Post. And I like Amy Schumer. She was terrible. Jerry plays an executive with Kellogg's. Jim Gaffigan plays Kellogg's. He put all his buddy stand-up comics in. He just put a cast of endless stand-up comics in this movie. Jim Gaffigan's in it, plays Kellogg. Amy Schumer plays Marjorie Post. Jerry Seinfeld's in it. Sebastian Maniscalco was in it. These are all stand-up comics. They're not, Bill Burr was in it. Cedric the Entertainer was in it. Just endless stand-up comics, and it's Melissa McCarthy's in it. Christian Slater had a small part. John Hamm. Ronnie Chang, who's a great stand-up comic, and he's funny. James Marsden was in it. Now, funny thing about James Marsden. Now, for those of you who don't know who James Marsden is, he was in Hairspray. He played the host of the movie one with John Travolta. What else was he in? Anybody see 27 Dresses with Katherine Heigl and James Marsden? He was in that. He's a very good actor, very funny. So he plays Jack LaLanne. Who's like talking about, the ills of sugar. That was really the only funny part, is really him wearing the blue unitard. But the movie was so... there's one thing about doing something over the top, and then the whole movie was that. So if you're doing something here, there are no levels. If you're always up here with over the top wannabe humor, it won't be funny after a while. Right? It's like if you just had a movie of punchlines and no setup. It's not funny. Or if you did that as stand-up, you just went, and that's how he got to the other side of the road. And that's how, he just kept throwing punchlines at people. You'd be like, this is ridiculous. I get what they were trying to do, with this over-the-top look at the cereal and make it silly. Peter Dinklage was funny. He plays this Happy Friendly, he was the owner of a milk farm. Type of thing. So this was very not biographical in any sense. It wasn't really, I guess the only true sense is there was a Kellogg's and Post who were at cereal war. And, I actually write about that in my book at the time, because Kellogg's was coming out with, he actually had what was called a sanitarium back then, and then not a sanitarium as we know them today. Back then it was a place you'd go and exercise and recoup and do things, as opposed to now where it's a place to keep you away from the general public. And back then you weren't put in a straitjacket, now you are. You see how things have changed, not for the better. He ran this really spot, and all the people would go, like Amelia Earhart, like it was the creme de la creme, which is what I had for breakfast today. I'm still feeling that. But they really had a good. It was like that kind of place, and so he's coming out with cereals, and then Post worked there, and then went off on his own and branched off, and of course the Post family and wealth became what they did. And did you like Kellogg's cereals better than Post cereals? I always was a Kellogg's person. Kellogg's is the Frosted Flakes, the Pop-Tarts, things like that. Post had their own, obviously, corn. Everybody had their own cornflakes, their own Raisin Bran, their own whatever, whatever you felt like. But I think people always veered more towards Kellogg's. You just felt like that was the brand, right? But at the end of the day, they were all terrible for you, right? They were all just this terrible, sugary cereals. So that's the movie. Jerry Seinfeld is 70. I didn't even know he was 70, and I guess he was bored of doing stand-up and doing his tours. Speaking of people in their 70s and 80s still touring, how about the Rolling Stones, man? They are touring. They are still touring. Let me see what the Stones are doing. I believe I have some of their ages here. You would be blown away if you found out the ages of some of these guys. It's unbelievable. Let me see if we got some of the ages of the Stones here. Well, we know, I think the youngest. So here we go. Oh boy, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards are both 80. Boy, Ronnie Wood is 76. So, wow, they've been touring for over 60 years. They're actually, if you want to go see them, and you better hurry, they are in Houston, Texas. That's where they keep Houston. And they're on a 16-city tour across the U.S. and Canada. Doesn't say they'll be in New York. They'll be in California. But pretty cool. So that should be, if you want to see some aging rockers still doing their thing. Go see. Did you see this little thing? I don't know if you guys are interested. What's in a name? I was reading this little article, and it talks about how people are not, when they get married, women are not changing their name to their male counterpart. It's an antiquated tradition that has run its course, certain women are saying. And I have no opinion on that whatsoever. As opinionated as I am, and you know I am, I really have no caring or thought on that whatsoever. I just thought it was interesting, and I wondered what you thought. Are you someone that would take your spouse's name, not take it? Does it really matter? I don't know. I don't think it matters. They said it really for the female, it depends on if her name if she's in the business world, maybe she wants to keep it for work purposes, legal purposes. Who knows? I don't think it really makes a difference. But who knows? All right, this is good. My next thing I want you to talk about that I thought was pretty interesting. This came down. When did this come down? This came down just recently from the USDA. Take a look at this. Finally, someone cares. Sugar salt limits for schools. So what they're saying is each kid is now limited to 1 bag of sugar a day. That's it. 1 bag of Domino's sugar, raw sugar, right after lunch. That's it. No. It's basically, this came down from the American Heart Association for Public Interest and National School Nutrition Association for an upgrade in school meals, healthier meals. I've been saying this for many moons, that they really need to fix the school lunches and the meals, which I understand is another very shady business going on with ConAgra Foods, who is one of the main suppliers of. They have all the contracts, right? It's just what it is. That's why you see vending machines and soda machines in these schools. And you're like, why do they have soda machines in schools? Well, there's big money, big payoffs to the principals, to superintendents, to keep those vending machines, soda machines in there. The old payola. And then you see, you have these superintendents making enormous six-figure salaries, and then you see them on the front of Newsday being handcuffed and taken out of the school. Boy, I would love to. I would wish I was a student when I saw that. Bye, Mr. Love. See ya. I'll come visit you. So what they're saying is, like Uniondale has really made strides, which is actually good for them in the Nassau County District. School staffs are now making, say, favorites like macaroni and cheese and tacos and pizza. They are making them from scratch using their own in-house recipes with all natural ingredients. So you're still able to put these things on kids' menus. Oh, a taco day, pizza day, but you're making them healthier with better. They're not these like frozen packed, terrible, been sitting somewhere in a warehouse for months and years and with no nutritional value whatsoever. They're more fresher ingredients. Making them, you can make things fresher and better and still have, your cheat. I tell this to my clients all the time. You want pizza? Don't get a drippy, oily slice from the neighborhood pizzeria. Make it yourself. And that's the fun part of it, right? It's a nice, engaging, fun activity. Get some nice whole grain, maybe cauliflower dough. Get yourself, some really good light sauce. Some fresh mozzarella if you like cheese. I don't. And you throw it in the oven. There you go. Remember speaking of Seinfeld, remember the one where Kramer wanted people to go into pizzerias and make their own pizza? And George said, you can't have people shoving their hands in a 700-degree oven. He was like, you go in, you put your pizza in. Yeah, that was a very funny episode. Seinfeld should have stuck to that. Did he not have enough money that he needed to do this? The man has more money than anybody. Unbelievable. So this is going on now. This is going to be implemented. It says here, schools will not be required to make changes this year. This year's over anyway. It will take place in the 24-25 school year, which will be next year. And we'll continue phasing it in. It'll phase out the amount of sugar that's allowed to be added to foods, and along with breakfast cereals, milks, yogurts as such, and along with sodium limits too, which is good. But let me tell you what my limits are. I'll show you my limits. I've had it up to here. That's my limit. If you look at the back of first of all, maybe many of you haven't ever turned over or a box or a can and understood that there is nutritional information on the back or on the side of anything you buy. It has to be now. It actually also has to be when you go into a restaurant or anything else. They have to now, by law, show you the nutritional value of anything you're eating, which you should want to know, ingredients-wise too. What would be the acceptable amounts? So they show it to you in grams, they show it to you in percentages. A thing to look out for is they show it per serving and per container total. So a serving size, you have to understand what a serving size is, and then understand what the total is in the box. If you just ate the whole can, the whole box, the whole serving, what have you. So if you were looking at sodium, and sodium's shown in milligrams on anything, even on a can of Celsius, this has no sodium, 0%, but they have to list it. So sodium you would want to be always under 100 milligrams, never more than 100. That starts, anything above 100 starts to be excessive. I don't know what the limits are. They did not say the limits. They just said there'll be limits on sodium and sugar. So let's see what those are. But for Funny Man Stevie K, and giving you, by the way, I'm your host, Funny Man Stevie K. I don't know if I introduced that this is the Steve Squared Show at 7:16. Just in case you were watching this madman for 45 minutes rant about horse racing, Billy Joel, and sugar. Yes, I am Funny Man Stevie K, coming to you live and in Technicolor. Oh, that was a great one. I watched a little Walt Disney yesterday and how he started with, do you remember what Walt Disney's first jump into the world of Technicolor and long feature-length movies was the great Snow White. 19, I believe it was 32, 33. This is 7 years before Wizard of Oz used Technicolor, and that was a big deal. We're talking animation. He made a full-length cartoon, which was unheard of. Back then, they were little shorts they'd show before the main feature. You wouldn't even pay any attention to that. He went and made this full-length feature. He took the novel and Snow White, and it was amazing. And that's why, because of that work, 1932, and you fast forward all these years later, it's why you have all the Moana and Shreks and and Toy Story and all of your favorite animations, Frozen and everything else in between, and all the characters we love. And I love watching animation and Pixar and all the companies that sprouted out was because of the work he did in 1932 and started this off, which is a $1 billion business. It's the main cog next to Marvel movies that the movie industry brings in revenue is animation. It's insane. You want to get into the movie business, be a good animator. And back then they had to draw it by hand, and they had to figure out a paint that would go onto these plastic things and mush it together. It was insane. Insanity. But it's pretty crazy. What was on? They actually were showing something. I circled this, and I thought this, but this was my parents' big Johnny Mathis fans, and my mom was watching Johnny Mathis the other night, and I see it here, and she's funny. There was Ray Price, and my mom shows me. She's like, "Look, it's this was the other week. Ray Price is singing, this song. Look how great he looks." I go, "Mom, he's been dead for 10 years. What are you talking? Come on." Now, apparently I was wrong. I thought this about Johnny Mathis, but he's still kicking along and doing great. He's fine. He's still okay. It's an odd thing. It's we look up people and see what they're doing. But Johnny Mathis, so that was on. Dua Lipa was on Saturday Night Live the other night, on Saturday night. Again, awful. I don't know why they do this. I know Saturday Night Live is getting so bad. So bad. That they're just trying to grab names to get people to watch. They really have to just stop. Sometimes you just have to stop. It's okay. You've had a good run. Just stop it. It's just awful. I say this now. If Steve was on, he'd be screaming his head off saying how great it is. Steve is just a forever Saturday Night Live fan. You cannot say anything. That's why I'm saying it now. But it's time to go. Time to go. Anne Hathaway has a new movie coming out. I don't know. Do you like Anne Hathaway? I'm not a big. I don't know. The Devil Wears Prada. She was, Bride Wars. She's, Princess Diaries. She's been around forever. Now she's in a new movie, The Idea of You, which now she's playing the older woman, and it's just another rom-commy trashy. She plays an older woman trying to seduce a 20-something-year-old. She's a mom, and now all this. It's just very cliche, very silly. But that's in the movies. There's nothing out there. I cannot find one movie I want to watch. That's why I was like, Unfrosted. I was waiting. Remember, I told you people about Unfrosted for months. I said this a year ago. Oh, Seinfeld's coming out. This is going to be great. I was built up and let down. I'm so upset. Now, Stranger Things is going to be... Cobra Kai season... This should be 5 or 6. This is 6. Cobra Kai is going to be released within the month, I think in June. They're going to have a teaser trailer next week. But Cobra Kai, Ralph Macchio, Long Island's Own, will be teased this week. So check out that'll be on Netflix. That I'm looking forward to. That's season 6. William Zabka and the gang will be back kung fu fighting. What's better than that? At what age do you stop wanting to have a birthday? Better ask my brother that. I'm sure he'll be excited to hear me say that. I mean, When do you stop? Do you still like to have the happy birthday sung to you? Do you still like to blow out candles? Or things like that? What do you enjoy? I don't know. Did you hear about this? No? Oh, I don't. You know what? I don't like that. That was from France. I don't want to do anything French. That was a French story from France. I don't want to put French here. It was about, they're coming out with this combination. It was on TikTok, and of course all these stupid TikTok videos become viral. It was about how in France they're combining croissants with everything. So there was the crookie. It's called the crookie, and the cronut. It's there mashing. Talk about just putting yourself in a sugar-intensive coma, mashing a croissant with something and then calling it what it is. You know, the crookie donut, cookie and a croissant. Or, you know, so they have a. Here's, I'll show you a picture of this nonsense. Croissant and a cookie. And they put it on the front as if penicillin was just discovered. Like, it's just, this is why a third of the world is obese. And a third of children are obese. Because this story gets more press. The sugar limits school story I had to find in the middle, in a subsection, page 92, in the back, buried. This is the front page. Straight here, the crookie has been invented. Thank God. We can now move on and enjoy our lives, knowing that when we come home from a hard day of doing nothing, we can look at the crookie. Look to the crookie. So what the, you know, a little bit of, and that's good, because I'll tell you what, that doesn't just have sugar, but it adds a lot of butter to it too. There's nothing like combining butter and sugar. What you should do, after you do that, go hook yourself up to one of those angiograms and see how you're doing. I have warned you. Right, Kermit? Maybe he's coming, maybe Kermit's coming better. See, this looks like the start of a bud. I always live in self-denial. It's the best way to be. It's the best place to be, self-denial. It's right next to Procrastinationville and I don't want to talk to anybody land. Lonelyville, Self-Denial Street, Procrastination Town. Yeah, I'm not watching that movie. That Anne Hathaway movie. You should watch, Conan O'Brien has something coming out which looks really good. Here it is. I like Conan O'Brien. I wasn't sure about him, but then I'm like, you know, I like Conan O'Brien. And he's got a thing coming out called, he goes on these little adventures. Like, he did something from the old Bethpage Village restoration where he joined into the old-time baseball. It was very funny. So he's got another one now. He's got, which one is this? He went to Conan Without Borders. He went to Italy, Conan in Berlin. He visits the American Girl store. So these are all funny, but this next one, he's on the go again. And it's Conan O'Brien Must Go. And it's a couple episodes, so he goes all different places. It's very funny. His latest one is on Max's Conan O'Brien Must Go. He goes to an old lighthouse. So he's an old lighthouse keeper, and he shows you what it's like to be. I like, you know, he is pretty funny, smart guy too. He was an original writer. I think he was a writer on Saturday Night, definitely on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if he wrote for the Letterman show, but definitely Saturday Night Live. And he's really funny. And I don't know if the Conan show is still going on. I'm not sure, but who knows? Let's finish off with a Dear Amy, shall we? I like Dear Amy. Okay. Alright, we can do this one. It says, Dear Amy, I grew up in the same town as Carly, the woman I later married. Her older sister, Susan, and I were in the same class in high school. This is, you can already see, right? You can already see that was the amuse-bouche, we call that, the appetizer, to put a little French into your show. Susan and I were friendly in high school, there it goes. But I wouldn't say we were exactly friends. It was a small school. Carly and I have a great marriage, 2 young kids. You build up nice before you zing them. Always the good part before the zinger. I do that all the time. I do that all the time. Hey, you want extra training? It's going to cost you a lot of money. That's how you do it. Recently, Susan pulled me aside. It's never good. And said she wanted to talk to me alone. Even better. She told me that she had feelings for me ever since high school. She said she knew she could never act on those feelings, but that she wanted to be honest. I have no idea why. I was completely stunned, doubt it. She urged me not to tell my wife, and I agreed. Now I'm not feeling good about that. I don't feel comfortable with the whole situation. I'm not sure what to do. Dear Stuck. So here's what Amy says. If you want to stay in a relationship with your wife, a loving relationship, you need to tell her about this episode. Wrong! You couldn't be more wrong! No. Deny, deny, deny. Self-denial, right? Didn't I just tell you that's where I live? I have no idea what your sister's talking about. I don't even... Who? What? Your sister? You have a sister? I didn't even know you had a sister. That's how you do it. I'm an actor. I'm a trained thespian of the theater. That's how you do it. You don't... You admit nothing. You don't give information. I mean, short of being tied to a chair and having your fingernails ripped off, you don't give information. Only until the water board, the hot lamp, and some kind of guy that you can't understand what language he's speaking is pulling your fingernails out with a tweezer. That's the only time you do it. Short of that, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. Are the kids home yet? Hey, look, honey, I got your bracelet. You know, you get something from CVS. Smooth it over a little. You go into aisle 3 right next to the mouthwash. Sometimes they have nice little trinkets, $5.99 and under. Get yourself one of those little bracelets. Beautiful. It's gorgeous. Anyway, and if I see you on that aisle getting Mother's Day gifts, I'm going to call you out. Don't do that to your mom. Get your mom great stuff. We're closing the show now. It's 7:29. I got to close up shop because I got to get to Madison Square Garden, for God's sake. I got 4 minutes to get to jump on a train and get to Madison Square Garden and see the Knicks. But hopefully, have a great week. Hopefully the Knicks do well tonight. Have a fantastic week. Thanks for jumping in and spending some time with myself and Kermit and enjoying the show. Again, go to my Instagram, Stephen R. Kaminsky, for everything dumbbells related and everything else related. We'll put all kinds of funny bits and skits on there for you. And once again, get your Mother's Day shop. If you're ordering stuff, you better do it either tonight. Order stuff tonight because you want it in time. Don't give these IOUs or whatever. That's kind of cheesy. And hopefully, happy Mom's Day, happy Mother's Day to my mom, and to all the moms out there. Have a great Mother's Day, because I won't see you until next Monday. We'll be in the studio. We might even have a surprise guest, and we'll see how everybody's Mother's Day was, and the weekend, and all the such, and hopefully I'll have good sports news regarding the Knicks. And you know what? Go out and pet a horse. Go to a nice barn or something and pet a horse. Do something. Be a little proactive. Okay, for myself, Funny Man Stevie K, for Kermit, and I hope and wish all of you a wonderful week, safe week, and we'll see you next Monday night, 6:30, from Governor's Comedy Club live on the Steve Square